New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring. New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Live from a secure concrete bunker somewhere in Ohio, New Thought Media Network presents Pastor Michael Mangus with Friday's Fireside Chat, spiritual conversation for today. Here he is from the secret radio room, surrounded by thousands of watts, Pastor Michael Mangus.
Let me tell you something. This is the reason I get paid the big bucks, okay? Because I'm doing technical stuff while I'm on the air. Well, hello there. Greetings to everyone across the United States and also around the world. It is time once again for another fun-filled, thrill-packed, and yes, guaranteed, exciting edition of the Fireside Chat here on your New Thought Media Network. I am the Reverend Michael Mangus, broadcasting this evening from the top secret radio room located in the extremely secure concrete bunker somewhere around Akron, Ohio, that is so top secret. And also doubled its security this week for the election. Now, only one person knows where I'm located. Everyone else, including and especially that Reverend Dr. Robert Brzezinski, my boss, he has no idea where I'm located, and we are going to keep it that way. All right? All right. Well, we do have a wonderful show for you this evening. Please feel free to interact with us by posting your comments on Facebook and also on YouTube. And all my shy people out there, I know you're out there going, I don't know if I want to comment on this show. I don't blame you. pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com, pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com. Send me an email. I will read it and respond during the week. Well, the purpose of our fireside chat here is to talk about contemporary issues from a New Thought perspective. And as I keep saying each and every week, I want us to all have a new thought about what is going on in the world. And again, New Thought has always been the whole idea of me. Well, how about us and we? And the oneness that we all share. So we all have a part in bringing about a world that does work for everyone. So that's the reason why we examine the news. We do it with a little levity. And so that we can, again, take a look at some of the hard issues and also ask how we can apply spirituality to it. Well, returning from his week off.
Is that what that was? A week off?
All the way from,
Where'd I go? Oh, there I am.
You're there. All the way from the great state of Tennessee. We welcome Divine Science ordained minister, the Reverend Jeff Radcliff.
Yeah.
Jeff, hold on just for 1 second as we do some technical stuff here.
All right.
Okay, if I go and do that, and I remove that, and I go back into the the Framostat. Push that.
Just watch what buttons you push, because I don't want you to launch a missile like you did.
Okay, now hold it. Now there are buttons here in front of me that say "Do not push under any circumstances." Okay, hold on. We're going to save our changes. All right. I have no idea. All right. We'll see how long that lasts here.
That comment, I have no idea.
I have no, listen, no, we were not broadcasting on Facebook on our New Thought Media Network Facebook page.
Okay.
But I think I put enough duct tape on it that it will stick. Oh, well, anyhow.
We're going to talk about the news, huh? Did you see the article that came out the other day? The biblical scholars have determined that the devil is really real. Did you see that?
What?
Yeah, it turns out he's a 47-year-old hillbilly from Arkansas named Beelzebub. That's a Reverend Jeff original, folks. So if you decide you want to quote me on that, be sure to attribute that to me.
Jeff, what are we going to do with you? But there were complaints about last week.
Oh, last week was
because that you tend to regulate me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you tend to keep me on the straight and narrow.
Well, I try. But seeing that my efforts reflect the size of my paycheck, I don't put in much work.
Hey, I got my fall bonus this week. From
that big fat zero showed up, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can go to conference.
Yeah, we got to talk to Robert about this.
Oh,
this is
well,
getting dire here.
Yeah, we got conference season coming up. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see who is with us tonight. Uh-oh. All the way from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. It is the undisputed North American New Thought Media Network champion, the Wayne Baldwin.
Hey, Wayne.
Hey, Wayne. How are you? All right. Nothing happened in the news this week, did it?
No, not a whole lot of anything. Right?
Maybe we should just kind of just go to.
Yeah, why not? Oh, here's a thought, and I should have brought this up before we even started to get into anything. But you know what would be really cool? Do you remember that that quote that Walter Winchell used to do before he did his radio show back in the day?
Boy, that's ancient times now.
Yeah, I know. You should adopt that. Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, from border to border and coast to coast, and all the ships at sea.
And we get into other countries, for example, like Canada, without a passport.
Canada is hardly another country. They're U.S.
Now, hold it now. Now, Wayne's going to... Okay, Wayne, you are allowed one comment back about that.
Oh, I just pissed off all my Canadian friends.
Ladies and gentlemen, just remember that the views and opinions expressed are those of those who gave them, not that of the New Thought Media Network, Centers for Spiritual Living, Divine Science International, and their Ministerial Association, and anyone else. Take what you like and leave the rest.
Right.
Hold on just 1 second. Talk among yourselves here because we are still having technical difficulties. So let's see here. We are going to push that button. We are going to do that. We are going to switch over to transmitter B, as in boy, as in Bravo, transmitter Bravo. Okay. As we are switching over to Bravo. All right. Well, and that didn't work. Then we're going to do something else. What?
So what's in your consciousness that's bringing up all these technical issues?
we are going to let that go. All right. And we're also going to let go of the technical problem. Okay. Anyhow, well, let's. I'll work on that later.
Give me 1 week off, and I come back.
Oh, that's okay. You're allowed.
Okay, good.
But unfortunately, we have some sad news here. The Appalachia High School shooting suspect and his father both appeared in separate court hearings this morning in Georgia. Neither of them entered a plea. Colt Gary, 14, was arraigned on 4 counts of felony murder and is expected to be tried as an adult following the Wednesday shooting that left 4 people dead in Winder, Georgia. His father, who I shake my head about, Colin Gray, was arraigned on 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of second-degree murder, and 8 counts of cruelty to children. An arrest warrant alleged that he provided his son with a firearm with knowledge that he was a threat to himself and others. Now, get this. Colin Gray told investigators that he purchased the AR-style gun used in the shooting as a holiday present for his son in December 2023 after the sheriff's department came to their house and asked them a bunch of questions about the young man's YouTube and also social media posts. And the dad said, oh, no, he cannot get access to the hunting guns. So here, this dad goes ahead and buys an AR-15 rifle for his son after the sheriff's department shows up at his door. His 14-year-old son told investigators after the shooting, I did it, while being questioned by the Barrow County Sheriff's Department.
That's tough.
I don't see anything in the Second Amendment that says that you should arm your children. And what I don't understand, and I was saying to Diana before the show, is if this child were mine, that first of all is I would make sure all the guns are out of the house. Second of all is I would make sure that his butt is in counseling. And also us as a family is in counseling. All I see here is just all kinds of lawsuits. Again, it's about time that the parents, like the young man up in Michigan, that they also get indicted and jail time. I just do not understand the individuals in this country, most of them are Republicans, who go ahead and say, okay, well, we have to have the Second Amendment, and that, it's not the guns that kill people, it's the people that kill people. Why? I just don't understand why a grown man would buy his teenage son an AR-15 after the sheriff's department showed up and said, we are concerned about your son shooting up his school. Your thoughts, Reverend Jeff Radcliff?
I go back and forth on this, and a lot of people probably don't know this about me. Some do, some do not, because it's something that I don't really talk about a whole lot, because I'm one of the few liberal, progressive Democrats who believes in the Second Amendment to a point. To a point. I want to make that clear. First of all, number one, we do not need assault weapons to go hunting. Those weapons are designed to kill people.
Absolutely.
So when you go out and you shoot a deer or whatever with a weapon like that, there's not going to be anything left. Okay? There's not going to be anything left because those were made to obliterate their target.
Absolutely.
I'm a country boy. I grew up with guns. I was shooting guns when I was like knee high to my dad. I learned from the best. My dad was in the Army. My grandfather grew up. His father was a constable in the county where they lived. This was back in the late 1800s, early 1900s. We used guns as a tool on the farm. They're a tool. Somewhere along the line, we lost something, and I haven't quite figured out when it happened. All I know is that we don't have kids being raised by responsible parents who teach them how to properly use whatever tools they have in their house, whether it is a weapon or whether it's a hammer or a saw or whatever.
They don't have this problem in Switzerland, where I would say 99% of the households have weaponry. Go ahead.
And it's legally mandated that they do that.
Yes.
And that is how Switzerland maintains their neutrality. But they're ready to go at a heartbeat. But we've somehow along the line, we have lost this idea that these are tools that we can use. I think a lot of it has to do with, we see cops shooting it up on TV, movies, video games, whatnot. The kids see that, they think it's cool, and whenever you're looking at a TV show and you've got like a gang member or somebody being portrayed on there, and they're holding their rifle like this, or their handgun like this, daggone well, these people have not been trained in proper technique, and safety is the very first technique that you learn.
Right.
So, but for the FBI to come up to this guy's house and say, we have reason to believe that your son is, putting this out there and that out there, and we have concerns about his mental health, and then he goes out and purchases this weapon, there's no excuse for that. There's really no excuse for that.
Yeah. It just, for me, it just goes beyond my mind.
It is. Now, and I will tell you this, and this is a fact that I am not proud of, and it only lasted for a couple of months, but I used to work for the NRA. All right. And then when I found out what the NRA was all about, I jumped ship. Because back when I was a kid, back when you were a kid, back in the old days, the NRA was
now watch it.
The NRA, you're not that much older than me, so just a couple of years.
Now watch it.
The NRA was a good thing. They focused on gun safety and training and teaching kids the right way to do things. And then Wayne LaPierre shows up, and the next thing you know, they're wanting guns in the hands of everybody, whether they're crazy or not, whether they're sane or not, whatever. I don't know. But when I found out what they were really, really about, that's when I totally jumped ship with them. I cannot, in good conscience, ever support the NRA.
Well, and again, that they used to, I guess that they used to sponsor the gun safety badge for the Boy Scouts. And again,
they sent somebody into my school when I was in 6th grade. The entire 6th grade class gathered in the auditorium, and we took a gun safety class. It was just a token thing, and considering that most of us were country kids anyway, we already knew a lot of this stuff. But for the kids in town that didn't have that opportunity to learn about guns out in the country like I did, this was a good thing. And this was in the 6th grade. They brought it into our public school to do that. These days, not a good idea.
Not a good idea. If you'd like to comment on what we are talking about this evening, please feel free to go ahead and join the chat this evening. Hello, Diana Mangus. And she says, they have video of using that gun killing a deer. Well, I bet you there wasn't much of the deer left. And she says, well, why are you using such a big gun to hunt with? See,
good question, Matt.
That is an extremely good question. And also, Diana said, they also said that the mother would lock the kid out of the house. Now, why is that?
Was she afraid of the kid? I mean, does she have issues of her own that need to be dealt with? Something's not right. The whole household seems like they need to do. If I were still a social worker, that would be the thing. Is I'm not sure whether I would need to call Child Protective Services or Adult Protective Services, because somewhere along the line, somebody's something's not right and needs to be investigated.
Right. And we don't have time tonight to, we don't have time tonight to discuss this, but I wanted to share with you here a prayer that was put up by Reverend Dr. David Alexander, an affirmative prayer for Winder, Georgia. And you can go to their website at slc-atlanta.org, slcatlanta.org. And then what they can do, you can read Reverend Dr. David's commentary and also his prayer for the nation. All right. Getting on to other news this evening. Countdown to the debate with just 4 days until Donald Trump and Kamala Harris face off in Philadelphia in a no-holds-barred cage match.
I was kind of hoping for a kiddie pool with Jell-O. But that's, let them fight it out in the kiddie pool full of Jell-O. That'd be fun.
My brain went someplace else, but we're just going to go on here. It says the former president is set to hold a news conference today in New York City, which he probably did, and while the vice president prepares for the debate in Pittsburgh. Trump will then travel to North Carolina to speak to the nation's largest police union. Now, Harris's presidential campaign increased its already blistering fundraising pace last month, bringing in $361 million, easily swamping the $130 million raised by her GOP rival last month, her campaign said on Friday.
Well, and he doesn't have that much money anymore anyway. His stocks in Truth Social went down.
Right.
And they said that he lost like $4 billion. So, yeah, he doesn't have any money.
Well, unfortunately, he was in court again today to
appeal for him or us
to appeal the verdict in the E. Jean Carroll sex abuse case. This comes as the judge overseeing Trump's separate New York hush money case decided to delay the GOP's presidential nominee sentencing until after the election. So some are saying that that's a victory for the Trump campaign.
It's only a victory if he wins the election. and does something on day one to make this go away. Otherwise, Judge Mershon is gonna press through with this. I don't understand his reasoning behind it. I've read a couple of different articles. I've listened to a couple of different podcasts from pundits. I still don't get the reasoning behind it. It is what it is. The only thing that I can say for certain is that this should give Kamala Harris and her supporters more incentive to get out and vote in numbers that are so big that it doesn't matter what Donald Trump says or what the judge says. We can go ahead with this case after the election because Trump will be elected. So it's up to us to make sure that we get votes out in order to make that happen. Otherwise, the world that works for everyone that we've been working toward probably ain't going to happen, folks.
What do you think about the debate coming up here? Do you have your big bowl of popcorn? Are you ready to watch the cage match? Now, I said as a fundraiser, don't put this on network TV. Put this on pay-per-view. All right. And we'll pick out a charity and then we'll do it in a cage.
Yeah. I wish I could. I posted a really good joke about this.
Can we say it on the air?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I know we were talking about. I was talking about a drinking game, and from here on, anytime Trump says "tremendous" or "very" or "everybody knows" or "everybody's saying this" or "everybody's talking this," you take a drink. We'll stay drunk until the inauguration. So,
maybe that's the best thing.
Yeah.
But again,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I agree with the tactic. Well, yeah, she really had no choice in the matter. Kamala Harris and her folks did not want them to have the mics silent. She wanted to keep the microphones open and live for the entire debate. The idea behind that being, let Donald Trump say what he's going to say. He's going to give him enough rope. He's going to hang himself. But she ended up having to change that and say, okay, yeah, we'll agree to making sure that the microphones are turned off when each person is not speaking, because he threatened to not go through with the debate if they didn't do it.
Yes. Well,
how mature is that? Yeah.
Hi, Priscilla. Good to have you along. What are we talking about? Well, again, give it a few minutes. We'll let you know. She gave us a big heart there. Also, Diana says, if convicted before the election, then the Republicans wouldn't have a candidate. Can you imagine the Republican VP nominee after the president instead?
Yeah. So here are the rules for this debate's drinking game. Every time you hear him say crooked Hillary, because he's going to bring her up, even though she's not going to be a part of this. Crooked Hillary, that's a drink. Democrat Party is a drink.
Okay.
Best economy, black employment, stock markets.
How about
anything
liberal?
Like that. It's one drink. Liberal is a drink. Sleepy Joe Biden, he's going to bring up President Biden again, who's not even a part of this. There's a drink. Fake news is a drink. He's going to end up with Russia again. He falls back on that. Make America Great Again. Those two right there are worth 3 drinks. When he talks about unfair elections or it's rigged, anything like it, take a drink. You will be drunk until the next midterm election.
So before we go to break, so what do you think about Vladimir Putin giving the nod to Vice President Harris?
You know what? I saw an article we need to come back and talk about this after the break. But in this article, a Russian lawmaker told Reuters news agency that Moscow doesn't think it matters whether Republican Donald Trump or Democrat Kamala Harris wins the November 5th election. And what she said, Maria Butina, I think is her name, the only winner of the U.S. election is the U.S. private military industrial complex. Now, this is a woman who spent 15 months in a U.S. prison for acting as an unregistered Russian agent. So you can take what she's got to say with a grain of salt, but she's saying it doesn't matter who wins.
Well, I have some surprising news. Hell is frozen over this evening.
Where am I supposed to go now?
Dick Cheney will vote for Kamala Harris, Liz Cheney said. Former GOP Representative Liz Cheney on Friday said that her father, former Vice President Dick Cheney, who's not a very good hunter.
Oh, you went there.
Okay.
I would have gone there first if you hadn't beat me to it.
Okay, well, anyhow, is voting for Vice President Kamala Harris over Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump in November. Dick Cheney will be voting for Kamala Harris, the former Wyoming Congresswoman, said at the Texas Tribune Festival in Austin, Texas on Friday. Cheney and her father, who served under President George W. Bush, joined Jimmy McCain, the youngest son of the late Senator John McCain, among the ranks of the high-profile Republicans, saying that they will not back another Trump term. So do you think that this debate coming up will sway any of the people who are Trumpsters?
No, not at all. Not at all. It's not going to sway anybody who's on Kamala's side either.
Okay.
And to tell you the truth, I've been seeing a lot more folks who are independent saying that they are not going to vote for president if they can't, or they're going to cast a third party ballot, which, I've got, I'm both for and against that, but I think the people who are going to be voting have already made up their minds. Nothing that they say in a debate from here on out is going to matter. What's going to matter is if somebody does something so egregiously stupid that everybody goes, well, we can't vote for that. And so so when it comes to that, my money is on the obvious.
Well, so to answer our question, did hell freeze over? We have staff theologian, the Reverend Dr. Robert Brzezinski, chiming in, and he says, yes, it has. Well, if you wondered what you stumbled onto this evening, this is a Friday evening fireside chat here on your New Thought Media Network. Let's do a few announcements, and then we will be back with a lot more of the news. And just to let you know that this coming Sunday, yours truly will be speaking at Summit Center for Spiritual Living. If you'd like more information about our Sunday morning broadcast, again, go to summitcsl.org. Please feel free to join us on Zoom. There on the website is all of our Zoom information, including our super secret password. All right, so join us on Sunday. That's at 10:30 Eastern Time, 7:30 Pacific. I have no idea what I'm going to be talking about. I have to talk to my chief sermon writer, Reverend Jeff Radcliff, and probably Lily the Wonder Dog to get my topic for this Sunday. But join us. It is a wonderful service. We have a wonderful community. SummitCSL.org. There you can get all the information for our Zoom call. All right. let us go to break, and it will be a quick one. And we'll be right back with a lot more of the Friday evening fireside chat here on Positively Inspiring New Thought Media Network.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
The views and opinions expressed by Pastor Michael Mangus are generally right. However, they are his own and do not reflect the views and opinions of New Thought Media Network, Centers for Spiritual Living, or any other person living or dead. As they say in the 12-Step Recovery Program, take what you like and leave the rest. Here again is Pastor Michael.
And I am joined by Jeff Radcliff and also the other half of the sermon writing team, Lily the Wonder Dog.
Yeah, you're the only one that calls her that. And she
I am.
likes it. Yeah, and she kind of likes it.
Oh, she likes it. Well,
yeah.
we have a comment from Diana Mangus, and she says, I hear Lily has great ideas.
Lily's got all kinds of ideas. I don't know how great some of them are. Her latest when we've got another housefly that came in from outside.
Right.
She's been chasing it, trying to get it to play, and it doesn't want to play. And she just can't accept rejection. She's just not built that way.
Well, hi, Lily.
Look,
hi, Lily. All right.
Oh, there he goes. Good play. Go on.
Okay.
Oh my. So
back to
wait,
the news.
We didn't finish up with what we were going to talk about with the election because I had this.
Okay, go ahead.
Anyway, the Department of Justice indicted a couple of people from Russia's RT network. I guess that stands for Russia Today. They wanted to hire an American company to produce online content to influence the 2024 presidential election. They got like 32 or 34 website URLs, things of that nature. Turns out this American content company is based in Nashville. So,
wow.
So much for the great state of Tennessee, which is blood red GOP. So, you put those two little puzzle pieces together and you can, come up with whatever. But what's interesting is I've read two different articles on this. There are more out there, but I only read two of them.
Okay.
They are not officially naming what this content company is. However, I believe it was in the USA Today article that I read. They identified the company as Tenet Media because they said that it had the same message on its homepage that all these other shell websites that RT had gotten hold of had that same had the same message on it, which says that they are a network of heterodox commenters that focus on Western political and cultural issues. Now, if you don't know what heterodox means, and I did not, I looked it up. It says
Okay.
it refers to beliefs, ideas, or activities that are different from and opposing generally accepted beliefs or standards. And it can also mean deviating from an officially approved belief or doctrine. So basically, what they're saying is they're not following the usual and accepted beliefs and opinions. In other words, they're going so far out on a limb you can hear the wood crack. But this company is based in Nashville.
Now, were they funded? Were they funded by the Russians?
Yes.
Or by RT?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Boy, we're just so full of news this evening, aren't we?
We're so full of it. It's just, it's sad.
Now, the next story, I know that you said, why can't we have cheery news? But yeah, I think we need to talk about it. Trans teen was brutally beaten by classmates who were later proud of their violence on social media. So a late night party in a wooded area frequented by teens in Gloucester, Massachusetts, was the scene of a brutal beating over the Labor Day weekend that left a trans high school junior with bone fractures and nerve damage. The 16-year-old was transported to a local hospital emergency room after police reported and responded to the area known as Dogtown. The youngster said, "1 second I was having fun, the next minute I was on the ground getting my face stomped in and beat." Young man told reporters that he has dealt with being bullied for years over his trans identity and assured that it played a part in why he was targeted on Friday night. They were saying the F slur over and over and over as they were punching me and stomping me. As of Wednesday, the police chief, Edward Connolly, has yet to declare the assault a hate crime. "We are treating these allegations with the utmost seriousness," Connolly said in a statement. He asked the public to allow the investigation to proceed without rushing into judgment. The young man was reported missing before police responded to the area around 10:45 p.m. Cops say that they learned that there had been a dispute among teens at the gathering and that one had been assaulted. Authorities say that people involved are known to one another. The young man's mother, Jaden's mother, that's the young man's name, said, "This has always been the worst fear as a mom of a trans teen. A lot of them are proud of what they did, and it is wrong." And he has been bullied by these children for years. As someone who spent a good majority of his growing up years being bullied and harassed and beaten not only at school, but at home, there is just no excuse for this. And why isn't the police taking more of a proactive issue in this? The way that the story read was that there were words maybe said before this happened. Your comments, Jeff Radcliff.
In cases like this, I have been known to recommend a book. that I think everybody needs to read because it speaks directly to this. Former, well, he's retired now. He was a bishop in the United Methodist Church, William H. Willimon.
Okay.
Wrote a book back in the mid 20 teens called Fear of the Other. And basically what it's about, and I'm going to read this directly off the website. He brings a perspective to bear on what may be the hardest thing for people of faith to do: keep loving the other as they are without any need for them to become like us. That has been an issue for all of the time that there have been people on this planet. We'll look at somebody else and say, oh, well, they're not like us. They're not like us. We other them. There's somebody else. And if you can other someone, then you can deny them their humanity. You can deny them basic human rights, and it makes it easy to beat them up. It makes it easy to kill them. Because they're not like us. And it's interesting because back in the days of ancient Rome, there were people of every different skin tone and shade, color, however you want to put it, varying amounts of melanin in the skin, and everybody was looked at as being human. Okay?
Right.
Somewhere along the line, and it was right around the time that slavery was getting started, in order to justify bringing over dark-skinned people from Africa to work for free, that's when race really became an issue, not only here in this country, but in Europe as well, because a lot of European countries were also importing slaves to the New World.
And using the Bible, the Old Testament, to justify it.
Yeah.
So
they othered them. They othered them. They made them less than human. And there for a while it was even, if you had one drop of black blood in you, then you were considered all black and you were 3/5 of a human being. What kind of sick-minded individual comes up with that? Because that's not spiritual. That's not coming from the spirit that we know, the God that we know, who is is present everywhere within everyone.
Right.
So
no child deserves this.
Absolutely.
No child deserves this. And again, it just I know moms and dads with trans children, and that again, that if anything happened to them, it's like, well, I don't like to get even with individuals, but I like to hold them accountable for their actions rather than go, having a bunch of hate in my heart to go after them. But I think that lessons can be learned, especially in this case with these, I'm guessing, young men who went ahead and pulled this off. So, but I think that there's going to be enough civil lawsuits and other things there to, and again, that goes back to the point of parents being responsible for their children and their children's behavior. What's going to happen to these young men at home? I know what would have happened
already happened to them to cause them to do this in the first place. Makes you wonder, what's their home life like to make them like this?
Our prayers are with Jaden and his family as he recovers. And again, I'm really glad that we're not doing a funeral, or they had to do a funeral for a young man.
And this is a trans individual who is identifying as male.
Yes.
What's ironic about that is we just came through the Olympics where we had trans individuals who identified as female. and everybody was up in arms about how these men were competing against women. Yet here are, but yet their mind doesn't work in the same way, these bigots, because, any other time they would have identified this person as female. So we've got boys beating the crap out of a girl who is not really a girl because we know that she's identifying as male.
Right.
But, in their twisted logic, they didn't stop to think, oh, well, we shouldn't do this because this. We shouldn't do this. First of all, we shouldn't do this because this is wrong to be doing. But in their twisted logic, they could have at least said, oh, well, maybe, we shouldn't do it because of this other reason over here, and then use their twisted anti-trans logic. That might have at least saved Jaden from getting beat up. Unfortunately, it didn't, and that's what hurts me.
We have to speak up. We have to speak out. We have to, again, to encourage other people. Gone are the days where you don't mention this stuff. And I know, again, in some New Thought circles, people say, well, all you're doing is you're giving energy to the problem. No, we are speaking up. We are speaking out. We are saying that this needs to change. That's what we're saying here. And so
I'd love to talk to the pastors of some of those people. Oh, don't talk about this because you're throwing energy toward the negative. How are we supposed to know what it is we desire for ourselves if we can't look at the world around us and say, that is something I don't approve of. I don't want that. I want something else. Are they not being taught that? And if not, why not? Because you cannot make the judgment of what's going to work for you or what's going to work for anybody else. That world that works for everyone, we have to identify the places where it doesn't work for anybody.
Right.
That requires judgment. That requires looking at the negative. If you want a spiritual bypass, you do that on your own damn time. But when it comes to the world at large, you have to look at the negative in order to shift your attention and move toward the positive.
One more story.
Now we can pass the collection plate because
Can I get an amen from someone?
All right.
All right. One more. Some nonprofit newspapers endorse candidates, so why can't churches? The new lawsuit asks. The federal lawsuit that was filed by the National Religious Broadcasters, also known as the NRB, is the latest challenge to the so-called Johnson Amendment, which bars charitable nonprofits from taking sides in campaigns. Mm-hmm. A group of evangelical broadcasters, and that's what the NRB is composed of, mm-hmm. who hosted Donald Trump at their national conference earlier this year, is suing the IRS over the so-called Johnson Amendment, a tax law that bars nonprofits from supporting political candidates. Lawyers for the NRB, along with two Baptist churches and a conservative group called Intercessors for America, argued in their suit that the ban on engaging in politics restricts their freedom of speech and freedom of religion. They
Wrong. It does not. All of these people are perfectly welcome to share whatever they want, as long as they're not doing it from the pulpit.
Right. So a couple more here. It says they further argue that the IRS ignores the politicking of some charities while threatening to punish others. Now, I've never heard that before. I've always heard that, again, that as far as with the IRS, with the 501c3, is that you are not allowed to endorse a candidate for elected office from the pulpit. And again, I've read that right off the IRS website. Just a few more here. It says the lawsuit is the latest challenge to the Johnson Amendment, a 1954 law that has long been the bane of conservative groups and in particular, preachers seeking to become more involved in politics. The ban on taking sides in campaigns, including endorsements or campaign contributions, adds to nonprofits that fall under the section of 501c3. And I think it's a different section. I think it's 501c10s for strictly nonprofits, not 501c3 for religious organizations. But again, it just goes.
503Cs were also nonprofits.
Okay. So the Institute for Nonprofit News, of which members around 450 member organizations, including the Religious News Network, of which we get a lot of our news from here on the Fireside Chat, does not accept members that endorse candidates. It says that nonprofit news organizations do not endorse candidates, and under the IRS guidelines, they should not favor any candidate for public office. Now, the challenge is that the Philadelphia Inquirer, who's also a nonprofit corporation, they also, the newspaper remains a for-profit public benefit corporation. And this is from the CEO of their owner, which is the Lenfest Institute for Journalism. As a for-profit entity, the Philadelphia Inquirer is permitted to publish political endorsements, as it has for decades. It does so following thoughtful research on candidates' public positions, qualifications, integrity, and track records.
Wow.
Okay, so this is what I do based upon the IRS ruling. I think you well know who I support here on this broadcast. Okay.
Just keep it off of Summit whenever you're speaking.
Yes. So when I am speaking at any spiritual center, any church, I will talk about ethics and values and encourage individuals to vote their spiritual values. Does your candidate reflect love, peace, power, empowerment?
Yeah.
Do they actually do that, or do they have a track record of the opposite? So that's what newspapers in this case, again, it's not the church. It's not going to church in front of a bunch of people and saying, well, we support so-and-so. Or going up there like one minister did down in Texas, and he says, I know I'm not supposed to do this, but I want XYZ for senator or for president. And he got turned into the IRS for it. So you're not being limited in your free speech.
No.
I'm able as a citizen to be able to speak about who I want for president, and that I keep it away from Sunday mornings. But I encourage everyone, though, is to vote from the pulpit, is to vote, and also to vote your values. Who represents your values?
Yes.
Jeff Radcliff, you have the final words.
The only thing going out of this, since we're almost out of time, is that, yes, vote your values. That's all. Just vote your values. Remember, these people can hawk you off. They can drive you crazy like they do me. But in the end, at the end of the day, stop and remember, even though it doesn't look like it, they are not other.
Right.
They are emanations of spirit. They are expressions of God, just like you are, just like I am. And in the end, we have to remember that we are one with one another. We may differ on the details, but in the big things, in the big scheme of things, in the end of it, we're all one.
You're not going to believe this.
We're out. I told you we were on, knew that.
Well, that's my cue line now.
Yeah, I know, but I had to throw something spiritual in here just to
well,
live up to our reputation of being spiritually, looking at the news from a spiritual point of view. Okay. Somebody's got to do it, so so I guess it's me.
I guess it's you, Jeff Radcliff. Again, thank you for being a part of our broadcast this week. I'm glad you're back to make sure that I stay on the straight and narrow, not like last week.
Yeah. Oh, I haven't listened to last week's broadcast. I'm going to have to go back and see what I missed.
Okay.
I don't like that.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. And we're out of time here. Again, thank you so very much for joining us this evening. Join us next week here on the Fireside Chat. And also check out some of our other programs on YouTube, on our YouTube page, which is New Thought Media Network. And if everyone could do this, please, on any of your social media with us, especially on YouTube, is to put thumbs up and also to subscribe. That really helps us to get the message out there. So thumbs up and also subscribe. All right. On behalf of all of us here at the New Thought Media Network, I am Reverend Michael Mangus. I'm going to wish you a very pleasant good night and a wonderful week.
Thanks for joining us this evening for Friday's Fireside Chat with Pastor Michael Mangus. Join us again next week at 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain for more spiritual conversations for today. For more information and replays of past shows, please visit the New Thought Radio and Media Network's Facebook page. Until next week, may God bless you richly and abundantly.